Hi, welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble from Chris Gamble's Analog Life.
How you doing, Chris?
Pretty good, Dave. How you doing there? It's getting on towards spring there, isn't it?
It is. Getting spring. We're having some nice warm days and a few chilly ones occasionally. So, all the planets screwed up and everything, of course.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just all back and forth.
Well, I was thinking about you guys the other day. Because I was thinking, oh man, I'm kind of sad that we're moving down into the fall, but I'm like, oh, Dave's probably loving this though.
Oh, absolutely. Coming into summertime, here in Sydney, but even winters here in Sydney aren't that bad. It might,
good.
A top of 18 degrees or something like that Celsius, which you probably have no idea about. Being a Fahrenheit man.
Oh yeah.
So yes, that non-linear conversion there.
Oh yeah, 5/9.
Bit of a pain.
32 or whatever that is.
Yeah, something like that. There's some ratio in there somewhere. I can never remember it.
Yeah.
I've got to use a conversion program.
Well, I actually messed up using a conversion program a couple days ago.
Do tell.
I was supposed to be on. It's the same one that you and I've experienced as well. I was supposed to be on Let's Talk Geek, which is the South African program, and they invited me to be on there. And I get, I rush home from work at lunchtime, and I'm gonna do a little bit of lunchtime recording, whatever. And I get here, and I'm like, guys, where are you? Hello? Yep, turns out calculated it wrong again.
Nice work. Well, yes, that's not the first time, is it?
No, it's not. I'm really good at that. But I was
you've got to use timeanddate.com is an excellent resource which I use to
even Google does it, but it's just these silly things. I mean, like you and I, we messed that up that one time, and you think that would have taught me, but nothing doing.
No, well, I've done it too. I've got to admit. So, yeah, those sort of things happen.
Well, I was thinking about it though, because why not just make time not a constant, but make it all related to GMT, right? Obviously, not every country would ever pick that up, but that'd be the best way to do it. And then when you say, you probably do it in military time too. You say, 13:45. Everybody would know when that is in their local time, and they'd be like, "No, I'm sleeping then." And why not, right? I mean, the world's flat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on,
sorry,
I'm
having silly problems with this auto gain mic here. Oh. We think we've figured it out. We think it's a finally. Google Talk issue. Yeah, so we didn't have time before the show to disable this automatic gain on the mic that Google Talk does. So it's really annoying. So I can see myself peaking here on the on the graph here. So yeah. Anyway, I like the audio quality we had last time using that new what's it called?
Oh, I'm going to forget what it's called now.
The levelator or something like that.
That's it. Yeah, I was just going to look.
Awesome little program.
Yes,
and that auto adjusts our volume levels for us and hopefully make us sound a bit more professional and radio-like. I can't even do a stupid radio voice, so yeah.
I don't think that's what people are listening for.
No, I don't think so. It's the content. So what content have we got today?
Well, we got tons of stuff, but I was going to mention about the content. We actually got some good feedback from people, so thanks to everybody who took the survey. I kind of put that together without Dave knowing about it, but I was like, I want to know where people are from, and then I'm like, oh, Dave probably wants to know this too, so threw some extra stuff in there, and yeah, so we got some cool stuff, and we'll try and roll some stuff in here. I think I put some stuff on our list today. I don't know if me and Dave actually didn't talk about it at all, but
nope. Well, it's an
we'll get to that
show.
later. So it doesn't matter too much. There's some fun stuff in there. So I thanks to everyone who have filled that out. We got about 200 responses, and that's really cool. 200,
geez, that's impressive. Thanks, guys.
I know. Yeah. So yeah, let's do some shout outs, huh?
Yep, let's do it.
So CMC, I'm not sure if he wanted us to share his full name, but he put our logo on his webpage, and we always said we'd throw a shout out for that. So thanks a lot. We'll post a link and techthing.org. So we'll check that out. It's
the
great.
link will be up there. So
yeah,
that's excellent. We always love people who link to the blog because that's how we're going to grow our audience eventually to millions and millions of nerds around the world.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's a critical mass for that.
Yeah, well, I'd be happy for a couple of thousand. So,
heck, I'm happy with what we got right now. That's great. So,
absolutely, a couple of hundred.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. So,
which I'll actually talk about that later. So that will lead into something
that's
else.
A good thing.
So yeah, and yes.
So Adafruit.
What's this about Adafruit?
They just turned a year. That I was just watching their
is
thing
that
today.
All? A year?
Well, no, not the company. Sorry, my bad. That's their Ask an Engineer.
Oh, okay. Ask an Engineer. Their video show's been going for a year, right?
Yeah. You're at a year, right, with the EV blog? Is that right?
No, I'm at a year and a half. I started April 4th, 2009. There you go.
Trailblazer right there. But yeah, they had some great. I mean, like I've been watching that more and more, and they got some good stuff on there. I mean, they're selling their stuff, but who cares? You know, like they're providing good service too, and they like cats more than I do, but. Whatever.
Yes, I'm a cat hater, so yes.
Oh, well,
what's the cat's name? It's like
Mosfet.
Is it Mosfet?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, pretty cool.
Yeah, you know that cat was born nerdy, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a bit disappointed with the video quality they've got there. Their recorded video quality. I think they should try and, especially for the recorded version, the live version is fine, you know, because you've got to watch it through via Ustream and the quality's shit and the frame rate updates crap. But it'd be nice if they could improve the downloadable video quality there.
Yeah, you know, I think they're real utilitarian though, so whatever works for them, that's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I get through it. I mean.
That brings me to my live show, which I filmed last weekend. I did, you know, it's Ask Dave. Well, it doesn't really have a name. It's just the EEV blog live show. And I filmed that with 3 different things. There was the online recorded version with Ustream. So that I got Ustream to automatically record it. Then I was recording the webcam directly onto my hard drive as well, and I was recording it with my backup HD camera. And wouldn't you know it, the other 2 just didn't work at all. It was crap.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, the audio sync was all over the place, and it was something to do with Ustream again, just crapping up. So those 2 audio streams were ruined, so I had to use my backup camera yet again. So sorry everyone who watched my live show as a download, and you know I'm not looking at the camera, it's just up in the corner, and you didn't get the cool effects and things like that on camera. And well, what can you do?
Technical problems. If only we were,
you know, I thought at least one of those ones would have worked, but no, sure enough, both of the direct recorded ones
One out of 3.
Well, that's right. It's lucky I did do the third backup. So at least I've got something. At least you can hear me.
Yeah. Well, and I have my super awesome technical new gadget here.
Which
is a sock. I have a sock in front of my face.
That's right. You've got a pop filter finally.
I have a pop filter, so hopefully no one's getting popped in the ears. And I think that we're all safe from those now.
Yeah, nice. It's just not as advanced as my stocking one. Yours is just a sock.
Right.
Everyone knows the stocking is far superior, has a far superior attenuation.
Yeah.
It is, yep. And we'll see if we can get the difference here. Like, I've got the pop filter on now, and I'll take it off, and there we go. Hopefully, you can hear
that is different.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, there we go. It's back on now. So my sock, as we posted a photo on last time. Sorry, stocking.
Stocking
on the coat hanger. So there you go.
There you go.
Yes, advanced tools here at the Amp Hour.
Yep. So speaking of the Adafruit people, I'm just as a reminder, if you're going to be at the Open Source Hardware Convention or even going to be at Maker Faire New York City or World Maker Faire early, I'll be out there. So if you want to grab a beer or something, might have to be a lunchtime beer because I'm taking off right afterwards. But I'm doing that next week.
Excellent. So you are finally getting to a Maker Faire.
No. That's what I'm saying. I think the Maker Faire starts on Friday. And I'm going Thursday just for the open source hardware thing.
Oh, right. Oh, it's part of the same thing, is it? Or
it's kind of like they tacked it on the front so that, you know, because all those people are going to be out there anyways. So
right, got it.
Yeah, so I'll be out there for the summit and hopefully meeting some people. And before that, I'll be at ESC Boston if any listeners are going to that. I'm actually doing a Twitter panel, which is kind of weird, but, you know.
Yeah, I watched. They did a Twitter panel last year, and I tried to watch some of the recording, and it was boring as batshit, really. A bunch of people who think they're authoritative are up there, and at least you've got some reps. So they'll have something, someone up there who actually knows something about the engineering industry at least. They had it. I think the people on the last panel were marketers and all sorts of
they get that sometimes,
like
but
that.
I mean that's kind of where it's targeted to, and I don't know, like a lot of people still don't use Twitter, but I like it. I mean, I get to follow people and
well, I'm starting to love it. I'm starting to love Twitter. It's not it's a very sort of hacked up sort of tool. It's not the be all end all tool, but you can sort of do a lot of stuff with it. Just through a simplistic interface, 140 characters and hashtags and stuff like that. You can actually, you can do
those
a surprising amount
something.
With it. That's right. And I'm up to like 800 followers or something like that, which is fantastic. And I'm following other people. I'm getting all sorts of things on my feed. So I'm actually learning stuff. So, but the thing is, you don't. It can turn into like a Facebook kind of thing where you've got so many friends and you're following and you're just bombarded with so much info it becomes useless.
Right.
So I think the key to Twitter is the signal to noise ratio. The key there is not to follow as many people as who are following you, especially if you're someone of note. Because if you're following 500 people,
I'm following 1,000.
How can you? You're following 1,000.
Yeah, I'm following 1,000.
Really? How do you see? I
don't know. I get
a good signal to noise ratio.
Oh, I don't. I mean, the thing is, like, I don't check it that. I mean, like, I post stuff sometimes, and when I check it, usually I get about 20 minutes worth of people's thoughts, and it's just kind of luck at that point. But it's still like, I mean, there's all these cool people. I mean, like, I think about like the maker community. Like, I just keep finding people through other people, and then connecting like that. And so, I mean, it's good in that regard. I mean, like, I find people like doing stuff that I never even would have thought of. Like some of these projects people do. Like, why? Where do they come from? Who thinks of doing these things? But
exactly,
in the event you did follow them. I think there's also a benefit to. I don't want to talk about Twitter too much, but like, there's a benefit because if you're following the two same people and then they message each other, you're also going to see that. So. That's a good thing, too. Yes,
exactly. Yeah, I've seen a few good things pop up like that. And now I think it's only come online in the last month or something, but they pop up with people who you should follow. And it's based on other people you're following. And it's good. All these people, I know them, I'll follow them. And it automatically pops up as sort of, right, okay, you're just clicking, I'll follow them, follow them,
they're
follow
awesome.
them.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
right, well.
So... Yeah, I'm only following like 30 or something, so I have to lift my game. There you go. But I've now got a little app which automatically sits in the background and it pops up and alerts me if there's a new
that's bad.
thing. So
that's really bad.
I know. Yeah, it can be bad. That's especially if you're following 1,000 because it would pop up every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So
maybe if I cut my list way down, but
right.
Whatever,
Yep.
I'm okay for now. And it's good. I mean,
cool.
I find stuff for the show, so that's the reason I do it a lot of times. Is like there's some of the stuff in here I find through there, and as long as I still get work done during the day, I'm feeling okay about it.
Excellent. So, well, that's enough of Twitter, I think. I think we should get on to another shout-out, shall we? Is it a shout-out? It's listed here as a shout-out, but
I think so.
Hackin' Mods Ben Heck has a new, this is the first time I've really heard of him, been to his site, but he has a new sponsored show, and it's sponsored by Element 14, Farnells. So it looks, based on his intro, it looks like it should be fun. And it looks like he's got some sort of sponsorship deal with Element 14, which I think is only pretty much limited to, he's getting tools to help him put videos up on the site and free parts and all that for all these hacks.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. So, you wouldn't catch me doing something like that because all these companies like Element 14 and Design Spark and all these other online blogs run by big companies, they're all... I think we've mentioned this before, have we? That they're all fishing around for free content. So pretty much they're trying to talk... they're emailing all these bloggers out there and other people, look, come and write content for us and we'll give you free stuff, So they're looking to get content cheaply. So just if you're a blogger out there and they contact you, just, I'm not going to say don't jump at the chance, but just think about it.
Keep your eyes open.
Keep your eyes open because, they are looking for free and cheap content, and I get approached all the time by all these companies wanting me to, generate, look, we'll send you all these free kits and you can review them. Well, no, bugger off. I haven't got time to become a free content reviewer for your site. Anyway, that's my rant. So
I think his new thing is about, I think it's about like hacks for actual consumer equipment, I think. I'm kind
something like that. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. And there's lots of Xbox, PlayStation-y type hacks and things like that, I think. So something along those lines. Anyway, Ben Heck,
welcome to the Brotherhood.
Actually, I just went to his site and he's got like movies he's produced or something. I haven't actually watched them, but he's got like half a dozen, it looks like feature-length movies or something.
You're talking about this Warpath?
Sorry?
Warpath or something else? No, this is.
I don't know. No,
I'm sorry. We haven't done our research well enough.
Here we go. I can call it up. I've got it up here. Movies. These are the movies he's done thus far. The Lizard of Death, The Adventurous, Adventure.
Yeah.
Possums Man. What's Possums Man? I don't know.
This might be some good.
These look hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to download these and watch.
We'll link this in. This looks good. But so Element 14 is now jumping into the sponsorship. Yeah, I think they sponsor some other stuff too. So I'm sure we're going to see more and more of that. A lot of them try and bring their own people in too,
they do, and that actually leads me onto I think it's a new law I've come up with. I'll call it Jones's diminishing blog law, and for want of a better name, if you've got a better name, let me know. But basically, I've got this theory, and I think it holds up pretty well, that all these big companies and all these magazines and things, I won't name names at all, but it's fairly generic across the industry, I think. And they will have a certain amount of circulation, or they will claim, we have a circulation of 100,000 or something like that. Now, that might be true, but the number of actual people who actually read it, I reckon, is an order of magnitude less than that. So if they've got 100,000, then only 10,000 people actively read it. But here's where the extra part of the law comes in. There's another order of magnitude drop where it's so it's an order of magnitude less again. So only so only 1,000 readers this time will actually read their online blogs and stuff like that.
Okay. So 100,000 people they mail out 100,000 magazines. Yeah. 90,000 get thrown in the trash bin. That's what you're saying?
Yep. That's what I'm saying. Only 1,000 people read it seriously on a regular basis, and then they
10,
think...
10,000.
10,000. Yep. Yeah. And then only 1,000 would actually read
comment.
their online blogs. They may even be another order of magnitude drop below that. So only 100 people will actually read the online blog. But I reckon there's a law there. That's I'll call it Jones's diminishing blog law.
Okay.
So all these companies, and that's how they suck in advertisers. They say, we've got a circulation of 100,000 and stuff like that. But the number of people who actually read it and listen to the blogs, subscribe to the RSS feeds and things like that is actually quite small. You'd be very surprised. So there you go. That's my law.
I wonder if that works in the other direction. Maybe you could start sending out 1 million magazines at once.
Right. Well, I'm sort of growing my blog from the ground up. I'm growing it from the other direction. So which I think works a lot better. That's why I've got an order of magnitude more subscribers than most of these big company ones out there. All these blogs out there. So because I've grown mine in the opposite direction. So
nice.
Yes. Anyway, there you go.
Okay, that's good. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, onto some technical stuff. How about that?
Let's do it.
Okay. No more blog stuff. Are we okay about that?
That's fine.
Chris has no readership. Don't worry about it. Anywho, so I wanted to talk about I don't even know what kicked this off. Oh, you know what it was? A friend told me. So findchips.com.
Oh, yeah.
What? I didn't use it. I used it for like a day or two before. I'd used some other ones, but and then a friend told me findchips.com got bought out by like some.
Yes, I've read the article. Well, the announcement. There's an announcement somewhere.
Announcement we'll link to. But
yep, and they've been bought out. This is a real shame. I've been using findchips.com for years, and I think I recommended it on my first or second blog or something like that.
Yeah, he mentioned that you did, so...
and the guy who actually ran it was always very mysterious. You didn't know who it was because there was no information. Yeah, and it says in this article that he used to work for NASA 12 years. He actually
I did read that,
started it 12 years ago. I had no idea it was that old.
Yeah,
because I've only been using it for
very texty based.
I'm sure it was
now.
just his own in-house use,
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But yeah, it's a fantastic tool, and now it's been bought out by who is it? Supply Frame Media.
Yeah, someone who wants to harvest data and steer you towards whoever pays the most. And that's the thing. It's like, do you trust it now? Like that's the real question. Is like, now that a interested party owns it. Before it's just some random dude. So you take it at face value. But now it's like, who's controlling this data?
Exactly. So and it'll be interesting to see whether the same website is still there. There's the website hasn't changed at all, but I'm sure it will. And they'll integrate it to their other systems. You'll probably have to end up registering. I'm fairly sure that'll happen because they want the database of people and stuff like that to suck them into their other websites and
vendors for actually pushing people towards like DigiKey versus Mauser versus Element 14.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a shame. I know.
Internet business.
Watch findchips.com. Don't go down the toilet, I think. I love their slogan at the article. It's got like, this new company they bought it to target, and I quote, bottom of the funnel.
Oh, yeah.
There's a new wank word for you. Or
no,
wank,
that's an old
term.
Wank word. That is an old
really?
one. Yeah.
I haven't heard bottom of the funnel before.
Oh, Dave's never talked to a salesman before. They love talking about funnels.
No, I try and avoid them at all costs.
That's okay.
So bottom of the funnel. So
that means so they try and if they start at the top, there's like tons and tons of people that are willing to buy, like LM741, right? And then out of 1,000 people, maybe 10 are serious, and then 2 are actually going to buy, and then they try and target those 2 people, and so they think that since people are actually searching for parts now, they'll be able to peg those people.
Right.
And it's like, but screw you, I don't want to use your site anymore. Yeah. So do you use Octopart? That's another one that
I used to use Octopart, but they've changed a lot too. I think they've gone the same way. I haven't used it for a month or two now, and I used to use it and used to be good, but it's changed a lot. So I'm not sure if I still like it. So FindChips hasn't changed, and I like stuff that doesn't change,
You're an old curmudgeonly old man, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Get off my lawn, you darn kids.
Yes, I'm a complete Luddite.
There you go.
So, FindChips.
The guy with a video blog. Yeah, Luddite right there.
Is a Luddite. Yeah, the guy who's pioneering engineering video blogging is a Luddite.
Yeah. Yep.
There you go.
What we don't tell you is he records it with rocks. He records it with rocks.
That's right.
It's actually a VHS camera.
That's right, and I'm paid in barter as well. I'm not paid in money.
For sheep.
That's right.
Well,
that's my going rate.
If our listeners have any other sites, we're looking for them now. So if you know any kind of quasi-good sites other than going straight to the DigiKeys and the Mausers, if there's... I'm surprised they even open up their interface like that. You'd think that they'd kind of guard their search engine, but... obviously someone's worked on it.
They used to, but now they've realised that is just the way it's going to go, and they have to meet it. As I said, all the EDA companies are building in the tools, so they need access to the database and the engines and all these supply companies, and they've realised, well, shit, we have to give access to our database, otherwise we're going to fall behind and go out of business. So now they're all scrambling to give companies the best, the application interface or, software geeky Linux Penguin thing to interface to their
API.
Their software.
That's what you're looking for there, API.
API, thank you. Yes,
You're welcome.
yes. Penguin term, yep.
Yes.
API.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, that's a good market economy kind of.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Example right there.
Yep.
Follow it or get out.
Bad can come from that, I don't think. It's only good that those sort of databases are open and people can access them. So, and these little guys like finechips.com just get bought out, and my hat's off to him. He's had a very useful tool for 10 years or something, and hopefully it continues to be useful. But yeah, I'm not sure how much it'd be interesting to find out how much he actually got. So if he's ever listening, mysterious NASA dude, finechips.com, the guy sold out, so good luck to him, I guess. It's a shame, really, but
passengers. Yeah.
And
whatever.
if you noticed a weird audio blip there, yes, Google Talk cut out again.
Oh,
so
-1.
What can we do? Yeah.
Yeah, we're probably not going to develop our own interface anytime soon. So
no, I don't think so, unless I can solder it together.
That's one long wire. Probably two, really, right?
Yeah, you can't beat copper. Copper all the way, absolutely. Or
maybe
I'll
optics.
even I'll go high tech and go fiber. That's fine.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep.
Well, I was bringing up that because the Fine Chips thing, because I've been working on a new design for a friend, and I've been looking at data sheets like crazy, and I've posted on Twitter a couple times. I love looking at op-amp data sheets, but it's getting insane how many. I mean, just like going through DigiKey, Mauser, all those.
Oh yeah.
It's that's kind of a bad part of design, I have to say. How do you really continue to keep an eye on parts and search for parts without doing it each and every time?
Well, unfortunately, you have to, and I've mentioned this on my blog many times. Component engineering is a big aspect of engineering. It really is. That's where you'll spend. I've thrown figures around before, but that's where you can spend 80 or 90% of your time easily. It's just on any new design. Just looking for parts.
And more if you're sourcing for your own design, right? So if you're actually going out and buying them and sorting them and everything else.
Yep, exactly.
Then you're really up the creek.
Well, there's an interesting story with my one of my designs at the moment that I'm working on. I needed a little 3-digit LED head display, right? Pretty easy. There's a few different models around, and I picked one for my first prototype, and I liked it. It was all good and cheap and everything like that. And it took me some time to find it because I had to make sure, yes, they had a couple of thousand in stock at DigiKey and Mauser, and I thought that was, a fairly safe number.
Yeah, you always think that's good.
Or there was 5,000 or something, so it was all pretty good and it looked good because the lead times were very long. They were like 24 weeks or something. So you have to make sure, you have to think ahead, and if I sell 1,000 of them or 10,000, is there going to be stock there available? So they had like 5,000. I was pretty happy with that, so I designed it in and I built up my prototype and everything, and I was quite happy with it. And then when I went to check the bill of materials again, lo and behold, somebody had snapped up all of those 5,000, and there was only like 100 left or something like that. And I couldn't get them from any other supplier. So they had zero stock, and they were all saying 24 weeks lead time. So I had to redesign my product for a different one, which was smaller. It wasn't pin compatible either. So it was smaller, and that changed the whole look and feel of my design, and everything changed. The user interface changed, and that led me down a different direction. It was a complete redesign of how the product looked and worked based on one stupid display. And that's just the way it is. Those things happen. I think my design is now better for that. I certainly like it much better now. And now they've got like 14,000 of these things in stock from multiple suppliers.
Good.
So
that's good.
Hopefully it doesn't.
The new package is better and everything too.
The new package is better, and it's smaller, and it allowed me to reorient everything differently. And it was. Yep, so I changed a lot of stuff based on that. And, as usual, we change one thing and it can lead to another thing and then another and then another, and it cascades and your whole design changes overnight.
There's two problems, I think, there. I think the first is like what you mentioned. Someone just snapped that up. You think about with the shortage we've talked about on this show before, and there's nothing you can do. I mean, people are going to need parts. They're going to go out and buy, and some people are probably going to even overbuy so that they're like all scared and they're willing to overbuy. And the other problem is, I think that even aside from supplier problems, so say, you know, like they're trying to supply you an op amp and the fab says they can only give you so many. Well, more than that even is all these companies trying to do something called lean. And Dave, you know what lean is, but I don't know if our listeners do. It's basically
lean manufacturing. Yeah,
it's where you basically try and have as little inventory on hand, because if you have inventory, you get charged for it, like at tax time and, you know, like and all that accounting stuff. So they try and have as little parts as possible, and that's not just companies. So that's not just like the Apples and the Dave Jones of the world. And yes, I did put those two drastically different in the same category. You're welcome, Dave.
No problem. Thank you.
But they also do that at the people that are holding these parts, because they're the ones that are actually holding them, and they get charged big time. So it's like it almost becomes a question of, you know, if you're going to the big distributors, like even the DigiKeys and the Mausers, they don't want to hold them that much because then they have to charge them. And so you're doubly screwed. You know, no one wants to hold on to these parts, and you can never get them. So
exactly. And they take up shelf space and warehouse space, and they have to expand their warehouses, et cetera, et cetera. And
even those 603 parts, they fill up a lot of room real fast. You know,
they can, especially when you've got 100,000 line items. You know, in stock. It's just crazy.
Exactly.
So,
I liked your point about the pin compatible thing. That's the one thing that I'm looking at. It's like, I mean, op amps, it's easy. When you start getting into LEDs and other things like that, it starts getting a little more difficult. But man, it's like really important because you lock yourself in.
Absolutely.
And then you're
right at the design stage, and then you go out and manufacture boards, and I know, and you're screwed. So if you've got to use some specialized, like especially pots and knobs and other sort of, mechanical type items, they can really lock you in too. More so than just a footprint, a component footprint.
Right, and if they don't get you with the supply numbers, like say they can only offer you 20, even if they have 100. They're going to jack the price up if other people want them. So
exactly,
it's I don't know. I wasn't designing stuff 5-10 years ago. Was it different then, or has it always been like this?
It's always been pretty much the same, but it's gotten a much bigger scale now with all the online e-commerce and everything like that. And like the DigiKeys and the Mausers are now 10 times bigger than what they were. And the laws have still pretty much stayed the same. The cutthroat nature of the industry and stuff like that. But it's actually gotten better though, I think, because they're holding more stock, bigger stock.
Really? I didn't
more
think so.
Line items. Oh yeah.
You mean more total
as in
stuff?
Farnells and DigiKey and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So it's gotten better from that perspective. But if you're talking about like the local distributors in each country for the manufacturers and stuff like that, they're still running their old game of not keeping any stock and giving it to priority customers and all that sort of stuff. So,
right. Yeah. It's like a famine, and it's like you have all the bread, and you maybe even have like a wheat mill. It's like, what? Come on, man! Like that's not cool. All we want is complete oversupply, so the prices drop, and we can get parts whenever we want. Is that too much to ask? All you business types out there, come on, just make a ton of parts and give them to us cheap, immediately.
Yes, please, for free, preferably.
Free would be great. I mean, free
would be fantastic.
Probably not going to happen. But there was an article
I'm sure there's a viable business model there somewhere. Come on. Somebody come up with a viable business model and do a startup based on free components.
Get to it, business schools.
Absolutely.
You're there for something. Anyway, I don't want to ruin my future. There was an article actually from Bob Peace too. You know Bob Peace?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bob Peace? You're saying Peace?
How do you say
Whereas I pronounce it Peas.
Peas. Pass the peas.
Yes.
Pass the peas. I don't know. I thought it was
I'm not sure how he actually pronounces it, but that's my Australian pronunciation.
Okay.
Bob Peas.
Yeah. So people who don't know who he is, he's another analog guru. There's a couple pictures. I have this one picture of him with actually it's on the front of his book. Actually, troubleshooting analog circuits. And it's like him holding this mess of wires and like all these. He's the one who came up with dead bug component working, where you put an SOIC. or any kind of really chip component on his back, so that the pins hang up in the air, and then because it's air surrounding it, there's a lot better capacitive nature on the pins, and there's no leakage at all. So you still have wires to deal with, but it's a cool technique. I always liked it. And,
I've done that on the blog. I've explained how the dead bug.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah, I've done a demo on my GSM mobile phone blog, so if anyone wants to see an example of the dead bug, it's sort of like on a smaller scale, how to use little chip scale packages and flip them on the back and put them on your ground planed board and stuff like that. So
that's good for high speed.
Everyone thinks like that's messy. How can that work at high speed? But some of the best high speed stuff is dead bug flipped over and actually just stuck down onto a copper clad board, I mean, well, there are limits to that. I mean, if you want to go to really ultra high speed, then you have to purpose design and get special Teflon boards and all that sort of stuff.
At that point, you're not even using real, layout tools. You're probably using like Microwave Office or something like that.
Yeah, using microwave tools and strip line techniques and all that sort of stuff. So I
like that too because it's kind of like a real world app. Like whenever you talk about like in a physics class or something like that, you always have these teachers who talk about like infinite plane of charge and all that crap. And it's like, well, that almost approximates it because you have this ground plane with all these electrons just kind of bubbling around in there, and then you just have a single pin connected down there. Well, there's no like potential difference any way you look, so that's really good for circuits and stuff.
Yeah, so it really works. So if you're into that sort of stuff, I'd highly recommend checking out Bob Pease's stuff and his book too. So
great book. Yep.
Troubleshooting analog circuits.
And he has a regular column too that's actually the thing I'll link you into, electronic design. Although I told you before the show, Dave, I really hate their site.
You really hate that site. Well, I didn't know he was still doing that. I used to follow it all the time when I actually got the magazine. I actually got the printed magazine, but they stopped sending that to Australia or something like that. Yeah. So the bastards. So EDN, but their website. So I thought, oh great, I can subscribe to Bob Pease's RSS feed. No, you can't. You hit the subscribe button there. Not only did the website fail, I tried again. It worked a second time. So, that's okay. I can't talk. My website goes down too, but...
Not lately, right, Dave?
Yeah, but then they take you to the subscription for the whole magazine. That's ridiculous. I just want to read Bob Pease's column.
Yeah.
Is that too much to ask? God.
Apparently they want to count you as a reader, the Jones law.
That's right. In the Jones's blog law, exactly. They want to sign you up to say that. Yeah,
got another one.
Whereas only 100 people actually subscribe to Bob Pease's RSS feed.
Right.
Well, there isn't one. There's no RSS feed. It's stupid.
They'll figure it out.
The dickheads.
Market economy eventually will figure it out, and they'll stop getting advertising dollars or something. I don't know. It's either way. We love Bob Pease, so. Or Pease.
Yes, we do. And EDN, they've actually admitted, I think one time many years ago, that was the most read thing in the magazine. People would actually flip through. Yeah, and I think I remember a lot. There was a huge influx of complaints once when they moved his column, I think, from the front of the magazine to the back. Or, they moved it. It used to be, I don't know where it was, but they moved it around and people went, oh, you moved it.
Where is it? I'm lost.
Because that's where they flicked to for the first time. It used to be in a common location to read his...
People hate change. They're crazy about it. You really got to give a good case.
Oh, yeah, for changing something, exactly. So...
Sad, but true.
It's very true. Yeah,
especially...
very popular column.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you think all those analog guys out... I mean, they're old. They're set in their ways. They know their filter design. They're smart dudes, but they know what they like, and they want it. And... And just a little tip out there for all those students, analog isn't going away. I know this is kind of a self-plug, but a lot of the analog engineers are getting up there. So just, take a second look. You don't have to look at my site. Just look at your textbook even. There's some cool stuff you can do still. So, digital's fine. FPGA is good. I do that stuff too. But consider analog. There's some cool stuff in there,
Yep.
Yeah, Dave does it. I do it.
Well, yeah, and I've done a blog on can you be a jack of all trades kind of thing. Can you do hardware and software? And I came to the conclusion that I don't think. Well, you can. You can certainly do both, but to become a real industry guru. I think you've got to specialize in one thing. You know, you can't be a world-class software developer and a world-class electronics, you know, or a world-class analog specialist or ASIC specialist as well. I don't think the two go hand in hand, you know. So
right, but I think there's a lot of there's something to point out in there, and I'm sure you did in your blog too. Is that, you know, if you're just doing hardware, there's no chance you're just sitting there doing only hardware. If you are,
of course,
you're not going to be employed very long. You need to know how to like talk to an A to D or talk to a DAC or, you know, like there's no lack of any analog these days or any digital these days or any coding even. I mean, you got to do everything these days.
Oh yeah,
so
you're
specialize in
design
one.
engineers. Yep, has to
but
do the whole
everything.
works.
Yeah,
they've got to do the whole gamut. As I said, you know, you've got to know everything from, you know, embedded software, right? You know, simulation, modeling, even 3D CAD, component selection, which we've talked about, component engineering.
Yeah,
you know, board like PCB layout. All sorts of, you know, you really have to be a jack of all trades.
Yes, you do. And if you're a new student or if you're a new hobbyist even and you want to get into it, don't worry about it too much. I mean, you'll get there. I was always worried about that when I was starting out, like, oh my God, how am I going to learn all this stuff? But you get to it eventually. I mean, so start small and you'll build up really fast. So don't worry about that. Don't let that overwhelm you.
That brings me to a question I had, an email I got this morning, actually. I added it to the list. I don't know if you've seen it.
I saw you adding
it's
that.
from someone called Wilfredo. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He sent an email and said he wants to become a PCB designer. He's read my PCB tutorial, and I presume he likes it. And and he asked, how do I get started in the field? Are there any books, classes, you know, courses I can take and stuff like that? And I haven't actually replied to him yet. I can send him this podcast. So let's you know, how do you do it if you know you want to specialize in something like that? Well, are there any books and classes? Well, not really. I mean, you can go for an IPC certification. I'm an IPC certified
what is
board.
That?
Layout. It's the Industrial Designers Council. They actually sorry, I'm a CID. I'm a CID. A certified interconnect designer.
Really?
So yes, I'm actually certified in PCB design, and there's CID Plus as well, which is another level above that they've added since I've done mine. And,
so tell me, is this emailer Wilfredo? Is he from Australia?
I don't think so. I would, I don't know where he's actually from. He didn't say, which people often leave out. So I assume they're always from the US or Europe or something like that. I assume they're from the US first because they know that
in Australia, right?
There's apparently people who live outside the US.
Who knew? I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
The world exists out there. It's not just, you know, evil countries. Anyway, let's not go there.
Okay.
How do you get into PCB design? Well, there are courses like the CID, but it doesn't, it teaches you a bit, but it's more about getting certification of the knowledge you already have.
And then you're going to get actual
I think it's a week-long
later.
Course or something like that, you know, and then you do an exam at the end. And it's not going to teach you PCB design. You have to. It's one of those learned skills. You can't just read a book or take a course. I wrote that tutorial to try and get people started, and it's an art, really. It's a you know.
Yeah, you think about like when you're starting a board. I mean, like that alone makes my head spin. Like when you're looking at an entire pile of components, you know, you put them all into a schematic, and then you pull them all into the actual layout tool, and then you have just this pile of components. Like, and there's just, you know, little rat's nest, little lines going everywhere, and you're like, oh my God, where do I start? You know, like, it's like
exactly. And you've got thousands of components sometimes, and you've got 12 layers on your board, and you've got and 100,000 interconnects sometimes or something. Yeah, it's crazy.
Decisions you make at the beginning matter. They really matter at the beginning even.
Exactly. And sometimes I still don't know how I do it. You know, I'll lay out a board and it's got hundreds or 1,000 components, and and as I place the last component, it just so happens to fit into place. Really? Or I'm routing the last track, and it just so happens there's enough room left by magic. Yeah. That there's just enough room left. So your mind's doing something in the background that you're probably not fully conscious of, and you lay out these tracks like magic or like painting or something like that, and it just the entire thing comes together right at the end, and I finish a board and I still go, wow, how did I do that layout? I didn't plan that from the beginning. It just sort of took form and you lay down that last track and you just go, oh, that fits. Isn't that sex on a stick?
That is nice.
That's just magic. How did I do that? I'm brilliant, and you pat yourself on the back and walk away and high-five yourself.
Celebratory beer. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's good.
And, so it's a bit of an art. So, really, it's one of those skills that you have to practice. And you can't just do, basic hobbyist level boards.
Well, you can start there, though.
Well, certainly start there, but you can't just do a couple of those and think you're a PCB designer. You put a couple of through-hole components down and a 555 timer on a board, and you've hit
12,
the auto route
12 layers, and it's just like, oh my! I've seen some of the designs that I've seen some crazy design, and you start looking at routing and like ground planes, and oh my gosh, it gets crazy. But I think I think there are some programs out there. So we shouldn't say that there's no programs. I mean, there's a certification. I think in the U.S. there actually are some more in-depth programs, or maybe there's just even requirements of, you need an associate's degree or even a bachelor's degree. I think there is that stuff. I've talked to our CAD guys about that stuff before at my company, and I think they have degrees, but I can't say I know specifically. So we can look it up for next time, maybe. Or
right. Well, I've been a full-time PCB designer before. That's one of my backgrounds, I've done full-time, my full-time job has been laying out boards for companies. And, and a lot of those people, it probably doesn't happen these days, but a lot of those people would come from a drafting background back in the old days, so they wouldn't know anything about electronics at all. They come from a CAD, a mechanical CAD drafting, with old pen and paper and the ruler and the whole, and the whole thing. They'd come from that background, but I think that's a dying art. But basically, you don't need you can be a good PCB designer and not have any any formal training or anything like that. Certainly, that's not uncommon. But to be a good
at that point, the question is how do you actually get started as getting that first job? Though that's the hard part.
Well, that's right. You've got to actually do as many boards as you can, and you've got to go specifically. There's two ways: either go specifically after a junior PCB layout job. Go in there, and they might be looking for someone experienced, but that's just what they all say. So there's very few junior PCB. I can't say I've ever seen a junior PCB designer job. But don't let that. Don't be afraid if you're a junior or, you've only laid out 10 boards or something. Don't be afraid to go for those jobs because they might go, we'll pay you much less and we'll take you on.
It's like doing that idea you had in one of your video blogs about going in there with even your hobbyist projects and look, I don't have tons of experience, but I did really good work on these 10 boards I've already done. Here's my examples, check these out, ask me about these, and I'd love to at least, get my foot in the door here and I want to do good work on your design. So the enthusiasm and the showing off your work, even if it is simpler work, it's probably a good start.
That is an excellent start. Yeah, as I've always said, that's the best thing you can do at a job interview or something like that. But generally, there are still a niche industry out there for just a PCB designer, be it inside a company. Companies will have their own layout guys, their own layout guys, and they will have. But there's external contract companies who generally they want someone very good, very very productive. So it's harder to get a job at those layout companies that just do turnkey electronics and stuff like that because you have to be very good, very productive. Lots of leading edge work typically, but if you can get into a company where they mention layout, you just got to look for the job description, and if they mention layout, go for that job. Get some experience doing some industrial layout boards and then work from there. Once you've got that experience, then you can go to a specific job, really. Yeah. So I would recommend taking on a general job that has PCB layout as part of the job description.
Yeah. So, and if you want to look at really, really interesting and intricate layout guidelines, I know that there are a lot of chip makers will actually have guide. I mean, that's might be way beyond a beginner, but if you want to see how crazy it can get, I know Intel has layout guidelines because when you think about 2-3 gigahertz for a processor, you have to have really stringent design requirement or design rules, or DRC is sometimes called in layout stuff if you haven't done it, where it actually you put in all these constraints beforehand. It has to be 1 picosecond or 10 picoseconds to get from here to there, and once you do that, it'll actually calculate the RC of your trace, and it'll actually check all this stuff for you as you go along. And then at the end, it says, "Oh, you messed up 10 different places, so go back and fix those."
Exactly, and that goes into field solvers as well, which is a more complex. They actually analyze the field around each trace on the board.
Oh, that gets crazy.
It can get very complex, and then there's not only is there an art there's an art into designing boards that actually fit a specific envelope inside a package. So you've got to know about 3D modeling these days, and all these new CAD packages, they all have 3D modeling of components.
And we've just scared him off from ever doing PCB design.
But it's certainly a viable career path. You can become an expert PCB designer, get your certification, and just
boards are only getting more complicated.
That one stepping stone job. I found I basically got a job, and I did some layout stuff, and that led to a full-time job, actually laying out boards. So I've laid out. I lost count. Thousands.
Wow.
Yeah, it's I'd be churning out
that many.
I'd be churning out a couple of boards a week or something like that. So, hell of a lot of boards.
Wow, that's crazy. So hopefully that answered Wilfredo's question.
I hope so. So yes, it's viable. Go for it if you like it, but you've got to like it. And it's something you've probably got to have a bit of talent in too. If you find that you're trying to lay out boards and you just have no concept. I know it's a very slow learning process, but if you find that you just can't really get your head around mapping, keeping that visual map of the board in your head or something like that and stuff like that. So it's one of those things not everyone can do. Not every designer can become a good PCB designer.
Yeah.
Your brain has to be wired in a certain visual way to remember.
Right, start placing components early and everything.
Placing components and keeping all that up there in your head. It's like trying to write a program. Only certain people can become very excellent programmers. They've got to remember 10 numbers in sequence or something like that to
That's all it takes to program, folks.
That's all it takes to program.
10 numbers in sequence.
10 numbers in sequence. They've done studies on that. And apparently.
I guess they have. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about?
I think it's numbers? 8, actually, if you can remember. Yeah. I think there's a variation between 6 and 10 or something as the number of digits somebody can remember in one sequence. And if you can remember 10, you're a Bill Gates or something. So
and various other skills that you might need, like typing.
Yes, quite possibly. But there you go. It's similar in PCB design. You've got to have your brain
natural
has to be
abilities
wired.
that kind of
natural
lead to
ability. Yeah. So but go for it. The only way to find out is to start laying out boards.
Yeah. So I noticed before you kind of didn't speak very nicely of the U.S.
Oh, I always speak nicely of the US. What are you talking about?
Well,
surely I don't say anything negative about the US.
My favorite part of the, I don't know who it was out there. If you want to leave it in the comments, whoever it was, I thought it was awesome. It's in the survey. I asked, "Is there anything you'd like to see in the amp hour?" And it said Dave Jones saying one positive thing about the US. And I've decided I think we should have a new segment. And we're going to turn it into Dave Jones says something marginally positive about the U.S.
Marginally positive.
Marginally positive. It doesn't have to be anything big.
Okay. Here we go. The U.S. has produced some good TV shows.
All right. We'll stop there.
Which I like. There you go. The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a huge fan of the Big Bang Theory.
I have a T-shirt of that. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
and some movies too, a lot of my favourite movies. They're all I think all of them are come out of Hollywood. So that
concludes the first segment of Dave Says Something Marginally Nice.
It does
about the U.S.
Does that preclude me saying anything negative at all in the show?
No, you're free to say whatever you want, but
cool. All right,
yeah. I thought that would be a hilarious idea. I wanted there to be like intro. Obviously, we don't have any music yet. We're still looking at that.
No,
I was hoping like for like this boppy theme, like Dave said something nice about the U.S. Yeah, I didn't have time. Sorry, but you had said it there. So how they do that on late night talk shows and stuff. I had a segment too where Chris could try and say something else like an Aussie. I don't know if you have any words. That I could try and say, but maybe for next time.
I don't know. There's so many.
It's too many. So maybe for next time. Okay.
Yes.
So it looks like we got about 5 or 6 more minutes, maybe. I don't even know.
5 more minutes. What have we got? What's on the list?
So have you seen these they're not called Mindstorm. Sorry, the Emotive. Have you seen these things?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God, they're so cool. They're like, okay, so you put these headsets on, and they do like really dumbed down EEGs, and then basically they map that, and then they wirelessly transmit back to a base station. And this is for a kid's toy, mind you. And then you use it to control stuff. So like, people are now hacking these things. So because I think there's an encrypted output from this actual headset. So imagine like a headband, and then there's like little sensors all over your head.
I've just called up the photo here, and it looks really funky and high tech. I love it.
Well, there's a dumbed down one too, where it's just on the side of your head apparently too. But it's just doing. I don't know if it's just doing like a instrumentation amp, and if you don't know what not you, Dave, but if people out there don't know what an instrumentation amp is, it's good for measuring differential signals. So if the left side of your head had 0.1 volts on it, and the right side of your head had 0.2 volts on it, it might be able to read the 0.1 difference easily without a lot of interference, and it would be able to cancel out the common mode signal. So, but I'm not sure exactly how they're doing it, but it is so cool.
It is. It looks great. Oh, and I've seen them. Yeah, they actually play games with it. Like they can play Wii game. Someone had a Donkey Kong thing. They play Donkey Kong and they just think about jumping and it jumps.
How cool is that?
I know. It's awesome.
You think about people complaining about not having flying cars and stuff, but come on, that's pretty close. You're controlling stuff. It's not like full out control, and you still have to have this funky thing. But I can imagine it eventually having it like built into a baseball cap, and then being able to control, a motor scooter that you're on or something like that. I don't know.
That'd be very cool. So, $500 for the SDK.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just for like a development kit. But there's toys that you can. There's been a couple things on Hackaday and Make and all those other people where they actually. I think the simpler one, it's only like $130 or something like that, and they drilled into it. They tapped off the amplifier line, and then I think they shoved it into Arduino and then wirelessly transmitted it. So if I find any of those links, I'll put those in. But oh my God, so cool, so cool.
Now, if these companies who design and manufacture these, I'm not sure who it is, but you said for obviously some game. What is it? The Emotive Epoch or something. This is the one I'm actually looking at here. Now, if they were smart, they would realize people are doing stuff like this, and they would just put an interface on there because they'd sell a shitload more of them. That's for sure. And it can become the industry standard, headset for doing something like that. And these companies just, as you said, it's got 128-bit, the signal's actually encrypted. That's just nuts. Why?
Well, money. Money is the answer. It's always the answer, Dave.
But there's more money by not doing that. I think. That's my argument, and they're just not thinking.
Unless there's something big, and maybe there's some kind of algorithm they have in there that they... the management wanted to protect it, blah, blah, blah. And it's but
you can protect the algorithms and still feed out usable data. That's the thing. Your IP goes into your algorithms. That's fine. I got no problems with that. Protect that. Pod it. Do whatever. Put it in an encrypted micro. But the output signal should be... something usable.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They're just
maybe it's so people aren't tapping off your brainwave and reading your mind. Did you think about that, Dave?
Right. It's an anti-government tinfoil hat thing, is it? Right. There you go.
I've got mine ready.
Right. I'm going to have to do that on the blog sometimes. I'm going to have to wear a tinfoil hat.
That would be such a good prop if you just pulled it out and slipped it on real discreetly, and you're like, all right, we're good.
Absolutely. I'm going to have to do that, I think. That's awesome.
That's good. I'm looking forward to that. I don't know. I think there's so many cool applications. You could have for this thing. Even People thought they couldn't get any lazier with a remote control, but what if it's just attached to your brain now? And you're like, oh, change the channel.
Change the channel. There it is.
Yeah. We'll have people that actually, like, you know, when people like grow into the couch and they have to like be cut away from the couch.
Right. Okay.
As soon as this thing gets put on the market, it's going to be like spike of those cases where 14 more people were cut out of their couches today. You know?
Right. All those 500, you know, all those 5,000 pound people have to be removed by crane from their from their bedroom. You know?
Oh yes, that is crazy. Disgusting.
And of course, that only happens in the US. Of course,
yeah, because we're fat and stupid, right?
That's right. That's the stereotype.
Ah, yes.
Oh dear.
Oh well. So I think we're kind of wrapping up here, huh?
I think we should wrap it up. I think our amp hour is done. So
we had some good topics today.
Thanks. Yeah. I think we covered some cool stuff. So hopefully everyone enjoys it.
Yeah, I had some feedback about, like, you know, we were drifting away from technical stuff, but I think we kind of touched back on that, so that's good. I love it. I love technical stuff.
Yeah, well, that's the whole idea of the show. We're going to try and keep it like that, but we do go off on tangents. So.
Sometimes we rant.
Yeah, you'll
sometimes
have to put up with this. Yeah.
We can
what can we do?
Put disclaimers or something. I don't know. Either way, thanks for listening.
We'll be fine. Thank you. Catch you next time.